Yes, it came from outer space to fill the world with terror.
Explodes and splatter the screen. You will die.
So Liam, can you show us a little bit about some interesting things on this car that you guys have built here? I know it's not just yourself, it's Gary as well. You guys are both Riverside Racing, and this was a bit of a pet project for him at the start, wasn't it?
Oh, it always has been. So up until the day it was sold, it was Gary's little baby. So we always had intentions of building it, finishing it, racing it for ourselves. However, as you know, time gets in the way and all that sort of stuff, and being able to finish the car for a customer in a reasonable time is a perfect situation for the category. Just to get a car on the grid, I think, is great.
And so, what's Robbo's plans as far as running this car? I'm assuming it's probably a little bit late for this season. What's he sort of thinking?
At the minute, if all goes together, the start of next season is the plan. So, still plenty of work to do, but there's quite a few people in place to sort of do the body work, to do certain aspects on the car to get it all going. So, a lot of it will be outsourced to separate manufacturers.
And is that sort of, I know that we needed to come in and do some filming today. What's actually happening after we finish talking about it? You're taking some parts off to get manufactured?
Yeah, so basically the bodywork, because bodywork is a job that's absolutely huge on one of these cars. The time spent in it is just enormous. So we'll just finish off some of the fine touches of all the steel work. So then it can head off down to the panel beater, being sprayed, bogged, ready to drop moulds off the back half of the bodywork. So that's sort of the big push to get it out of here in the next sort of very near future.
I suppose the big question is, what will the final body be made from?
With this one, so with budget in mind, that's just going to be a mix of so some of the crucial parts that aren't going to be damaged will be carbon fibre, such as a roof, all inside the pillars and so forth, will be carbon fibre, and then some of the non-structural stuff that you can give everyone a nudge with will be fiberglass.
So like rear guards or something like, and front guards?
Rear guards, the front bumper bar,
a
few little bits and pieces like that.
Well, that sort of makes sense, I suppose. Even if you've got a big budget's still a concern.
Yeah, carbon's never cheap to bingle.
But Robbo races pretty clean, doesn't he?
Until he gets over near Mr. Chairman.
Until he gets near Woodman.
The old Days of Thunder thing goes on between those two.
And can you show us a little bit of maybe about the front end on what you guys have decided, of what you can show us?
It's open book, this one. So fundamentally it's the same upright package and brake package which is on Shane's BMW. So we've utilised an FPR upright, as well as just the standard AP 395mm rotor and all that sort of gear. This car will be on rocker arm suspension, so we'll have a rocker arm placed here with a damper mounting up here. So there's a little bit of intricacy with this one, because we've spent so much time on the aerodynamics. It will incorporate third springs off the rocker arms and a few little bits of trickery like that. So the beautiful thing about Robbo buying the car is keeping along with the same philosophy of what we actually started with, besides the engine change, which was minimal. But everything else, the car will be built as it was our own, so quite exciting really.
Well, I suppose Robbo's been a long time friend and customer, so it's actually kind of fitting that it goes to someone that's quite close to the Riverside family, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank God it's staying in Victoria as well. Too many sports sedans are disappearing at the minute.
Way too many leaving Victoria, aren't there? So Liam, what about the rear of this car? What have you guys decided here?
Well, originally we built the rear of the car. We actually scored a car of the future, or part of a car of the future rear chassis member. So if you poke the camera up in there, we actually utilised it, and it made the car quite cheap to manufacture in the start. So it just runs all car of the future control arms, car of the future gearbox, however we'll put an LSD into it, the uprights and everything. So it was quite a quick, well thought out adaptation into the car from the very get-go. So.
And how about cockpit-wise? You're talking about was part of the consideration on building this car, the shape of it and everything. What was sort of desirable about the cockpit in the Mustang?
Very low roof line. It's quite smooth. The cockpit being quite far back with a lot of gap behind the front wheel, so we could actually utilise the rules where allowing the air to exit in certain parts of the car to complement it aerodynamically. Yeah, so it is a very low roof line though, so thankfully Robbo's a little bit on the short side.
He's the right size for a race car driver.
Exactly, he's a race car
He's
driver.
perfect for a race car driver, Robbo.
However, speaking about the cockpit and internally of it, the really only change from what we had intended for it is we're going to utilise his ECU and so forth, which means that we're going to have to give the paddles a flick and we're going to a gear stick.
He's going to stick with it. He likes the gear stick.
Yeah, he does like the stick.
He loves the stick, doesn't he? No paddle shift. So I'm sure Riverside will probably have this up for sale on their Facebook page, so check it out. Is there anything else that you could tell us about the Mustang that we sort of haven't covered? Like, you're talking about aero and everything. Have you just sort of got like a model and put a fan on it, or what have you done to try and incorporate proper aero into a sports sedan?
We left that to the professionals. So basically, before we even started the project, before the chassis was even started, we had Scott Beaton from Aero Design come down. He basically went over the entire body shell and spent a fair bit of time, working out exactly where we go, where we're going to put parts, where not to put chassis, and so forth. And so once he came up with devised a plan for us, did a little bit of CFD work and so forth. We basically designed the chassis around his aerodynamics package.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. Like, I know a lot of people have been wondering about this car, me included, have been desperate to find out information on who bought it and how it's going, and you guys have done an amazing job. Thanks for showing us, Liam.
Hey, welcome.